Hello everyone, welcome to the Sportive Mechanics YouTube channel. It's Nicholas. Today, I present to you this new Alpine A290. There will be two videos. There are even several videos. I am the first in the world to have released the video on the road in point of view with the camera here to show you what it looks like. And there are already tens of thousands of you who have seen it there, the video, and it's complete on the road. A video will be dedicated to this car on the track, as we'll be able to test it there too. I thought I would separate because for most people you are going to use it in the city, in Paris, all that, and others maybe will want to have fun. For the curious, you can check out the channel, subscribe and click like, all that good stuff. In short, today road test, we go around quickly. I won't repeat the detailed presentation we already covered in the studio with multiple versions. Today we'll discuss the concrete aspects that interest us about this car, including its performance and specifications. And then we're going to try it on all types of roads, mountain roads, highways, all that. Well, first of all, what interests us, we're going to talk about price. The GT version, the entry level and first edition, starts at 34,700 euros, 42,200. That's with the bonuses deducted until the end of the year 24. And basically you have until March 25 to register your car to get this bonus. In terms of finishes, there will be the GT, the GT Premium, the GT Performance, the GTS, which is the one I'm testing today. And there will be the first editions, which will be special editions with the blue, the beta, the black and the grey exactly. The car will be available with two engines. The standard version will have 180 horsepower, while the version I'm trying today has 220 horsepower. The GT Performances and GTS will have 220 horsepower, allowing for a slightly more powerful car. The car has 180 horsepower, only slightly more than the R5. I would then hesitate. After. It's maybe for those who want an R5 but pimped out like that. Since, yes, this Alpine A290 is basically the Renault 5, it has just been modified quite deeply. Both in terms of the chassis, the running gear, the engines, the look, the widening of the tracks. The front face, we still keep the same lights, we keep a lot of things that are common, but it's a radically different car. The R5, we had it, it's on the roads of the SRL. The chassis is already incredible for a car of this style. And here, I admit that you will see in this video, it holds the road super well. And you have to go quite strong before you can play with it, even if they wanted it to be playful. On the track, we'll see the playful side as you brake, pivot and maneuver the car. I think it's really a very sporty use. Who will want that? We'll see. Anyway, on the road, we're going to try to rough it up all the same. It's a small-sized car. It measures 3.99 meters long, so under 4 meters, 1.82 meters wide. So we have well-widened tracks. We especially see it at the wheel passage and 1 meter 52 high. The battery is identical to the 52 kW unit found in the Renault 5. He announces 380 kilometers of autonomy. It's a little bit below the R5. The aerodynamic appendages and wider, sportier tires with more grip enhance the car's performance. We'll see what that gives in terms of consumption. We'll have a final debrief to discuss it further. For charging, we can charge up to a maximum of 100 kilowatts. We have a 0 to 100 announced in 6.4 seconds. Do you know me? Of course, we're going to try it. Speed limited to 170 kilometers per hour, which should normally be sufficient for most cases. And this is not a car made for the highway, so on small roads at 170, you already don't have your license anymore. We have several levels of recovery. We have either a freewheel or 3 different levels of recovery. We have 2 engine sounds, so we'll see that in the cabin when we're driving. What does it do to bring a little something? Because an electric car without sound, without anything, it may be powerful. If we don't have a little feeling, we've always been used to it, and well, we're missing something, so we'll see. It has been reworked with violet. Let's see what it gives. We'll discuss it again in the test. It will come in 4 colors, gray, black, blue and white. Like this, I find that white, it's the one that goes best, the white. With this combination of rims, I find it perfect. There is also the beta version that you can see there, which is quite pretty with its specific rims that really resemble the concept car of the beta. I like it. Which one do you choose? Rather the one on the left or the one on the right? I really like this little GTS. Honestly, it goes very well. As an electric car, it's slightly heavier than a traditional sports car, but the weight is still well contained. This electric car weighs 1,056 pounds. Let's not forget the heavy battery pack. But on the other hand, the weight of the engines is much lighter. That makes it under 100 kg between engine and transmission, whereas a combustion engine with the pistons, etc. The oil, all that, it weighs about 150 to 250 kilo on this type of car. We save weight on the engine but add some back with the battery. The city car's advantage is its turning diameter of 33.46 feet, which is very practical for urban driving. It sneaks around quite well with the suspension, really modified for that. The modified running gear, knuckles and triangles. At the back, we have a multi-link at the front as well. In short, you'll see it's finely tuned. On the versions, we will have, depending on the rims and the seasons, different tires. We can have Michelin Pilot Sport 5S, we can have Alpine, and we can see Pilot Sport electric vehicle. Depending on what you choose, you have 3 different watches. And here we have the 5S, which grips relatively well under all types of weather. The front brakes, we find the front brakes of the Alpine 110, it's the Brembo, 4 pistons on 320mm discs. We have a very good bite. We first have an electric recovery that brings us to a deceleration of 0.3 G, which is pretty good. And before hitting the brakes, so the brakes in the end have only sporty use because otherwise the electric braking will be relatively effective for daily use. And we will find 19-inch rims each time. It's to be able to place these big brakes inside that we put such big rims. And we see it on the wings. The car has been widened by 2.36 inches compared to an R5, which is a significant change in the automotive world and happens rapidly. We have 2-tone cars. The Alpine logo is located in a darker area, unlike the R5 model. The cameras for driving aids, level 2 driving, and lights are the same as the R5. Except here, we have marked Alpine to remind us of the old ones from the past. Initial versions of the Alpine will be blue. In this image, it's black. I think it contrasts well with this car, but the X's are to remind us of the old cars where they used tape. We have snowflake patterns on the grills. At the bottom, there is a lot of closed surface. The turn signal is down here. It's pretty nice. We still find the small plexi plate with the 10 here. However, it's unique to this one. The R5 has fully painted blades instead of the small eye. Only a plastic part with driving aid sensors is in the center. The air curtains on the side and the widening of the wings are quite incredible. On this side we find our charging hatch, so up to 100 kilowatts. We also have 11 on board. We have the rims that are just sublime, with the tires that go. Anyway, I think this place is beautiful. With the offset of the wings, this lower body part that protrudes a lot from the car, I love it. This whole front part is incredible. 19-inch rims in several styles with widened wings at the back, also 19 inches. We find this part here to remind us of the sports cars of the time. The 2-tone, as I was telling you, and this ring that goes around the car, just like the R5 to remind us of what was done at the time. Small piece of 3/4 back. Admit that you need one. This car is just ultra sexy. As much as the R5, already I found it incredible. This one, I find it even more wow, with the bodybuilding effect of these parts that are widened, the lights that are good. It's incredible. I love it in white, and it also comes in black and blue. On the back, the protruding antenna, the little spoiler here that fits well, the one that goes all around, the third brake light, slanted window. Here, on this part, we have the back of an R5, except from this point on, it widens. The Alpine, noted there with the A290 GTS for the version you have chosen. I believe there will be the GT and GTS models, but not a GT premium version. But we don't know how much power it has if we don't know the finishes. Then, the same everything is painted up to this rear diffuser end. It's still very sexy, I like it a lot. And this little white reminder also, to widen it, say, look at all this. The reworked parts on the sides, these parts. Yeah, it's really very nice. What do you think? I would like your opinion in the comments on this Alpine. And this too, which is a part that does a little bit, sort of spoiler here, which also plays for aerodynamics. On the R5, it's just a flatter strip, you know? Hop, we open the trunk, a trunk with a volume of 326 liters, here 326 liters. It allows me to fit my large hiking bag, that's the size it makes, and if I put the bag here, I put this on the side. You know the principle, the Nicot fits in 326 liters. It fits inside. Is there a small compartment underneath? There is still a slight deviation in the sonogram. Let me quickly show you the inside of the base box again. And then, the most important thing, it's going to be to go try this car. So in terms of rear seats, in this car, we have all plastic doors at the back. on a car that is still worth more than 40,000 euros. A little effort could have been cool, at least for the corridor there, for example. The interior, however, the upholstery is incredible. We have a real leather finish. The leather is just sublime in its versions. Here, GTS, the blue, the white, it suits it perfectly. It's very, very pretty. Isofix captors are mounting on all 3 seats. So 3 babies here inside to come tidy up, hop, hop there. Then, on the other hand, the interior. When the baby measures 1.80 meters, well then, that's another matter, because look at Nicholas, 1.80 meters. I stand straight, my head hits down there, my head hits to the left, but my knees are there. I feel like I'm at the movies so much that I feel taller here because I'm tall. So the padded roof here, very pretty, but small LEDs, etc. However, when we close it is 80, it's complicated. Clearly it's a car 1.2+2, I would almost say, like the R5. It's exactly the same interior in terms of space. For the feet, I have a floor that is quite high since we have the battery pack there, so my legs are quite bent. I still have a little bit of space at the knee. The backrest, however, is very firm. The seat seems to be okay, but as someone who is a bit tall, my legs are quite raised. All my support is exactly here, on this part, here on the buttocks, so it presses a little bit more. A long journey would be more bothersome, but it's not necessarily made for long journeys. This car, as you know, will barely make 200 kilometers on the highway, so why not? But the seats are positioned very low. I have little room to put my feet under the seats. Then again, it's a very good car for the 2 people in the front. There, the driver will enjoy it even more. We can still carry friends in the back to go for a ride, go to town, for example. We have pockets here. We have a cigarette lighter socket, no USB port. It's a bit of a shame on a car like this. It could have been a plus, but the finish is nice, and when I see the front, it makes me really want to be at the front. Above all, it's done to motivate your friends to buy one. They shouldn't stay behind. It's still a 5-seater. We have the seatbelt here. If I come here, ouch, ouch, ouch. Oh, here, we move. That, no. The belts are mounted on straps, so it's a little more practical. We can shift them a little bit. At this spot, the backrest is softer. That's funny. The seat is a bit softer, but it's like a motorcycle one, so it's a bit curved like that. On this side, I don't have much support, but I have a little. Like the soft backrest, I sink a little into it. Yeah, it's not bad actually. It could work. It's not necessarily much more uncomfortable than the side just for sitting, which moves a little bit like this and can hurt your bottom. In the end, on the side. As usual, before showing you the front, I'll take you around the car like this in real life. I like doing this because it really gives a different perspective when it moves. In this way. Pretty good. And now, so I'm going to go home. And what does the interior look like? So the door, here in leather, so it's real leather, this time not recycled. So from what he was telling us yesterday, we have little fish scales. If it's original, I had never seen that as a pattern. On the top, it looks like they've also put a leather part. It's hard. I would have liked it a bit more cushioned. And then on the lower part, standard plastic with the sound of the violets. So we don't necessarily see it there. We will see on the high Alpine door sill, which is not lit, just a small plate placed. And there, look at the bottom of the case. I wanted to show that too, because of how it sticks out from the car. It's more than my hand almost, and yet I have big hands, so the same. On the sides, the widened wings, it really leads to something very nice. Then the seats here inside, in blue like this, it's really pretty. We have 290 here, which is embroidered with the small flag of the French Alps on the top, so we can see here. So then it's printed in the leather on this side, the map. Thank you, Alpine, finally, for making a little effort anyway. So they just changed the plastic on this side, because the other side, whether you have a Clio or an Alpine, it's always the same card, but they at least made the effort of that. A bit of rubber here could have prevented these noises. And we also find this material here, like the card at this level, with the A290 also on this side. There. Well, it's pretty nice. The finish to the eye, it's very nice. Double pedal at this place with the accelerator, the brake, and a large footrest where it's marked. Alpine as well. So let's come inside. Manual seat, ON. On one side, it's faster. There's just one thing I could blame that I saw while driving, because I've already driven several hours with it. When I switch to the brake, my foot doesn't accelerate to the pedal. To brake, I have to lift my foot well and then come there. And I find that I would have liked maybe the pedal a little bit higher from accelerator. That's my little thing on that side. Like at Renault, the My Safety Personal, to deactivate the personalized aids, deactivate the SP. Just here, the height of the lights to adjust. We find the vents on each side in this environment inside, which is really very nice. I admit that, like this, it's very, very beautiful. Small complaint I could make about the steering wheel, now that I drive them quite a bit, this car. So that it's pretty, it's very beautiful. That is very beautiful, it's very beautiful. The small touch at the edge vertex, talking on the road, you'll see it's stunning. The steering wheel leg is very big, and when we drive, for me, this big part here and on the other side behind, it's the same, it's quite thick, just like on the bottom. There, they put a very thick part behind, well, not very useful, this part. When I'm going to come drive, I find it a little bit imposing, and I would have liked it to be dug a little bit more at this place. Then there you go. And I, with my big hands, am there accordingly. When I'm going to play with it, I'm going to touch buttons a little bit everywhere, where there it is necessary. Your movements must be very precise. As you can see, it's not round at all. In fact, there's a part here in parenthesis. Here it's straight, here it's straight, here it's straight, here it's like this, here. It's not the same roundness. You have to get used to very sporty driving. The Alpine in the center in blue, that's the recharge. So I'm going to be able to look down there, all the way down to the left. You see the little blue thing that changes. So that's going to be the recharge. On 4 levels, when I'm at 0, is total freewheeling. Level 1, it's recovery from 1 to 110 base. Level 2, it's a little bit more. Level 3, it's a lot more. We will test that, of course. The drive modes here, we have the save mode, we have the normal mode, the sport mode, the personal mode here. And listen, when I'm in sport mode, there's a sound that presents itself in the cabin to tell you, hey, be careful, you're in sport. So that's the artificial sound of the car, so it's not bad. Then we can change the views here. So as usual, the animation with the global positioning system, we have integrated Android Automotive, the thing quite simple with the driving aids. We see that the animations are nice. They are maybe a little bit slow, I find. Yes, it's a bit of fluidity. And there we can see that the battery, by the way, it shows me a range of 222 miles with a full charge, 223 miles in the city and 118 miles on the highway. Let's not forget that it's from 100 to 0. This is your current thing is there. So they mark you. According to the last 100 kilometers, roughly the consumption you are going to have and the number of remaining kilometers with the battery that scratches up to 0% next, we always find that behind, like at Renault. For the music, the windshield wipers on this side, and the blinkers. And headlight with automatic light, we press here to have the full automatic headlight. The screen, I'm not necessarily showing you this one again, I'm not necessarily showing you, so we have shortcuts. Up there, we have a home button, so this is the home button. I press here again, we can have widgets, we have the applications right here. In short, do you know this? On the R5, I made a video dedicated specifically to the R5 multimedia system. The Alpine, it will be the same, except that this one will have a specific thing. The mic canal, that too, we see the ad on television right now, is that one. Live data, coaching, challenge, the thing will put me challenge, agility, power, endurance, agility, for example. I can have that. Okay, I continue. Taking the maximum of G0 40, 45 or 55 should not be done on the road. It will be done earlier on the circuit. Return to gnome. I can have the challenges in increasing power. It's going to basically do a launch control. It's going to suggest I do the control. I need to get to the best possible time. Endurance, it's going to be more with the battery and on the track. Look, I have the tire pressure. I also have the brake temperature. That's quite incredible on a car to have the brake temperature. And look, even triggering of passages around. Here I can do it manually or automatically if it calculates that with a global positioning system. So this is the exclusivity of this Alpine, and I find it rather nice to set small challenges all that. Then vent the USB port line block. It's a place here. Is it inductive charging? I'm not sure they charge men by induction. Here, the box, like on a 110, the place for the card. As I was saying, I'm coming back from maybe mixing up the guys. little thing that sticks a bit, the handbrake, the hot hold, and the little box. This glove box is identical to the one in the R5. A small part is removed here. It's unclear if this applies to all versions like the 5 or only high-end models. It lights up here. We have a light there, and in the doors down there, I don't know if you can see there, which lights up the interior a little bit at night. On the top, borderless rearview mirror, the LED touch right here, the Save Our Souls button, the small mirror with its LED card holder, and this padded ceiling here. In short, let's try this car on the road. That's what interests me more now, to see what it gives. Also, it's smooth with the fish scales and the Alpine down there. Let's go see on the road what it gives. At $290, I'll make 2 videos. One dedicated to the road, which many people will use this car for, and one dedicated to the circuit. We will really see if we can have fun. And already, normally, from what the engineers told me, there is already a way to have fun quite easily with this car, even if we are on the road. So, what I'm going to do now is to reconnect my Nicholas CarPlay's iPhone CarPlay and go for a drive directly. Let's see how it performs on the small roads of Palma de Mallorca. So, drive here, like this exit, and I'm off. Too much adjustment, let's go. So, a little one. Are present right away in the car when driving in a pleasant direction. That looks nice, that for an everyday car, we still have a big steering wheel. The sound is original. It would seem that right away a suspension can do, because here I really discover the car. With you, we begin with a stunning ocean view in the background. I'm in normal mode with a very progressive pedal. By feel, it's super careful. I'm starting with 100% battery and 215 miles of range. The car has been fully recharged. I'm starting. I've put on the air conditioning. It's 25 degrees outside. It's always 21.5 in the cabin. What I like is that I have the impression that there is good soundproofing from the outside, a little sound when accelerating and even when recharging. There's something moving in there. I don't know what it is. The thing with the USB key, we're going to put it somewhere else. I'm going to hide it there. So the artificial sound is pretty nice. It's an immersive little sound that brings a little something. When we're going to accelerate, in my goal, it's not going to be to accelerate all this any which way. The current goal is to start driving and explore the small roads. When we're in sport mode as well, and for example, when I press in sport mode, normally we have a different sound, which is more present. We'll also test that later. However, I can immediately feel it in sport mode. The steering has become much heavier and it's not necessarily ideal for everyday use. Then there is the save mode, which, okay, in save, it switched to full freewheel. So as the recovery levels can manage them, the save mode itself, its goal is to make sure to freewheel, to make you roll on momentum as long as possible. As soon as I let go, real freewheeling, 100%, I've disabled the beeps here. So in save mode, for example, on a downhill, I can anticipate and let myself glide, which I really enjoy. For example, for the city, we will leave the normal mode with very little recovery. I can still put the freewheel or other modes with more recovery. On all modes, when I accelerate again, it's pretty nice. So here we have roads at 120. Me, I'm going to make a small wood, 90, not bad. It's different from R5, totally the impression of environment, and even if it's the same, it's not the same. So what I like to do is put my driving aids in mode. So a 90. Not bad in terms of suspension, it looks interesting. I like to see on the small road what it's going to give, a little bit of rolling. We also have wider tires, more sporty tires, it's not bad. We'll see 90 to 120 since it's a 120 road here. Let's go, full throttle. Oh, the meter is too stylish. I love it. I loved what it just did to the meter. You have to. The movie, it's amazing. Okay, so it picks up pretty well with the little sound and everything. Here, the roads, it's 75 miles per hour from Spain. On the highway at 75, a little bit of wind noise. love seeing in the mirrors the bulging wings around the wheels. That's pretty nice. Uphill, it picks up, is pretty good. We have power there, torque, a good response. We have a country, a very, very progressive pedal in any case. Normal, you still have to press it. The start of the race is very smooth. This also allows you to play a little better with your pedal without having something abrupt. And I admit that this is not bad. We can also put on the wings, conduits, adaptive regulators, centering of wood, all that. At 120, it's not too bad if I put a little bit at 130 here, just to... We have slightly a bit more wind noise, but it's not ridiculous. Even at high speed, the car seems super stable, it seems responsive. We have a small middle point here, made to go fast and precisely, not to make big left and right. For example, the chassis looks very cool and it seems to be comfortable. In addition, because when it leans a little bit, I feel that when I come to lean, can't wait to take you on the small roads. So normally they had reset all the consumptions to 0, and we'll see what it's going to give precisely. On all types of roads, here we start with the highway. Here, my goal is to show you, as usual, the consumption tests, and then we'll see. And by the way, they're talking to us about overtakes. Let's see. There with the pedal at the booty. Oh yeah, I am, for example, 10% of the pedal. I press. In fact, it's as if I was going to press hard on the teeth without having to move the foot. So I'm here. I did a little and it does nothing. If I release the pedal, as soon as I press a little, it puts me in the hop. As if I was pressing full gas. It's funny, while there's the difference between me pressing full gas or pressing there. But doing that, it comes back to the same thing. It's just that it's a different way of doing it. Why not? Interesting not to say, but what you prefer to press there with your fingers like that, or still play with the foot. So the fact of making me a new thing, I don't think I'll use it very often because I still prefer to manage with my pedal, but it gives you a pretty responsive kickdown. And it's true that it goes right away without having to go to the end of the pedal stroke to then have this moment of... So it's quite an interesting proposition. Once everything's activated, level 2 driving is quite pleasant. We'll see if we have a capacitive steering wheel or not. If you're driving, it's performing well in the group now. No, we have a torque sensor on the steering wheel, so we need to leave a little bit of force to tell it that we're really there. The traffic jams very well. The car slows down as it should, the driving wings work well. It's a bit like the ideal daily. In the end, it's a small electric car, quite compact, sporty, a little dynamic character, a sexy look, a nice interior, a good sound system. A price a little higher than its little sister, the 5, but with still more character. If you're not really into sporty cars, the R5 is great. It has a cool look, nice colors, and a fun style. That wants to show its character a little more sporty. Clearly, what was missing from the R5 was this side that works just right. It's there to fill this lack of sportiness on the R5, which already has a pretty incredible chassis. You saw it when I tried it on the small roads of the Estoril, where I was quite impressed by the R5. So this one from the small mountain roads, so on the highway in front of acceleration, even stabilizing the engine forces a little bit. I always hear a little bit of this whistling, as I had described to you on the R5, here a little bit. It's essentially the gear set according to the engineers. These are sounds that are marked still mechanical, so it makes a little whistling noise that is made on electric cars. The noise is faint, barely audible when music is playing, but noticeable in silence. Bit perceptible. It's at 120. It's rather pleasant. We're overtaking. The car is nice to live with. The steering wheel is quite big though. Well, I have big hands. I'm a size L in hand size. And when I put my hands, for example, here at the thumb area, it's quite big. And with the plastic parts, I don't feel like I'm closing my hands well. Then the top is okay, but I feel this part here might be a bit thick. I would have liked it to be a little more hollowed out here. We'll see on the circuit what it gives. But a tad thicker to settle in like that. I noticed that the OV worked even during driving aids if I kept my foot slightly on the pedal, but not at 100%. On the other hand, I test everything each time. I like to fiddle with all the buttons a bit. I'm driving on the highway for about 30 kilometers. Traffic is slowing down due to a small jam, but I'll keep going. Then we'll take the nice little roads. Like this. It allows me to do a test and give you the consumption before we can have fun. And we definitely want to increase consumption when we're going to have a little fun on the small roads. Since earlier, I've been driving on highways with some slowdowns. There were brief areas where traffic was a bit slower. I have an average of 20 kilowatt hours per blood and joy. There I have closed. Little taste at 130 though, but around 23, roughly when driving at 130 kilometers per hour. So there, for example, I touch my brakes, I am in zero wheel regeneration. I also like to anticipate like this, for example, for a highway exit. There, I have a pound that always tends to be quite discreet. It's rather pleasant. Even the bits on the highway are done well, so what you need to know is that on the highway, we will still have much less autonomy. And above all, what I like is that they indicate it to us as I was showing on the dashboard. So here, for example, it told me that 163 kilometers if I stayed on the highway, or 309 if I only did city driving, or 270 in mixed, as I'm doing now. So for the moment, we're at 20. Here, we're going to get to the city. There's a big plus point here. Besides, it's even a little bit no more fun afterwards on roads where there will be no one for the consumption. But just right now, just the fact of having slowed down the effect a few hundred meters, it already lowered my consumption. I'll give you a short debrief after, as my aim is to do a bit of a mix. Now we are arriving in town for the city. A little freewheeling side, as I tell you, I like it. Afterwards, we have several recovery choices. We have 4 levels of recovery. The 4th one, it really brakes quite hard. Level 1 braking is like an Alpine engine brake at 110, and we shouldn't forget that an Alpine at 110, a small engine, it's a bed 8, so few engine brakes in the end. On an ice in 10, even an R or an S or whatever, a bed 8. It doesn't allow for big ones either, but it does a little recovery, like a pedal lift. Afterwards, for those who like it, but the maximum power, which in the end, level 3, what the first level, it's 0, it makes 0, 1, 2 or 3, and does not go up to the stop. We don't have one pedal yet, for example. Here, I completely release, and the car will keep rolling up to 8 kilometers per hour. We have the rampage, what they call, so it's as soon as we release the pedal. The car will roll at speeds of up to 8 kilometers per hour. And then, don't move brakes, I release, and even release of brakes, the car will go up to 8 kilometers per hour. So there, it stabilizes at exactly 7, even 8, so that's it. It's a small advantage also for in traffic jams. That is to say, you can just have fun releasing the brake and it will move forward. Renault told us that it was going to arrive on the Renault 5, since the Renault 4 will arrive with it. It's the basis of the Renault 5, so when it arrives on the RF5, it will also arrive on this Alpine. Since it's also common, the systems, etc., except that the advantage over the 5 is that here we have something to adjust its regeneration. That's pretty good. People have mixed opinions about one-pedal driving. For me, it depends on the situation. I'll be honest, the freewheel is what I like most. To me, it's the most important thing. Slightly anticipated with my car, I like to put it back in neutral, do a little hop tack, neutral, and let it roll. Arrive slowly, then accommodating my brother's varied tastes. What after the sort of one pedal with the rigging thing is not bad, for example, to a pedestrian. I saw them in the distance. I slow down, but I still need to brake at the end, whereas if I had a real one pedal, I could have just released. And that makes me only play with my accelerator pedal, and when you get used to it, it's not bad. There are people who only do that. They occasionally fail to brake during emergencies. But for the city, for example, with the big recovery, I would have liked it to, well, brake more at the end, for example. To anticipate, in traffic jams or on narrow mountain roads, it can be quite interesting. And we always have a different pedal response as well, depending on the Reagan. And you can feel it a little bit, the Dodin. You can feel that the car is firm, but the comfort is good. Average at 18.8, it's increasing slightly as I approach the mountains. We did a lot of highways there. Normally, the consumption increased. What we're going to do is climb the mountain and have fun. I will reset the counters to 0 later to see the results. Now let's address serious matters. We had come here with the 3. I was able to remember we had a blast with a 3, and I had a 3, which is quite incredible on this very road, and it was very nice. And in terms of power, we have more than enough. So let's not forget that it's a small everyday car, a little sporty, and that it's not necessarily a supercar. So in terms of steering, the ANS, it turns super easily. Well, the sound is nice. It brakes gradually, however, so it's not a bite that attacks hard. The pedal is nice actually, it's soft. You're going to have to press a little hard if you want it to brake hard, but we don't have a big bite from the start. Meanwhile, I'm in 0 regeneration. Will it change slightly in a year? It doesn't change because in the end, as I press hard, it's not necessarily going to play. At that moment, we are careful because there are bikes to look for and we overtake, and it accelerates well, it seems to hold up well. If we brake hard, it brakes quite hard, it accelerates well. So there is power. It's not wow, but it makes it a pretty nice car. We'll be most impressed not by the acceleration, but rather by the chassis, which will be more fun, in my opinion. So I'm not going to do anything and everything on the road because we stay on the road, however, on the track tomorrow. I'm quite eager to see. It's rather nice. Let's move on. So in sports with a direction that changes a bit more noise, so there we feel the presence really. It's nice, the car, super good. In fact, what is disconcerting is that we see for the car, it's easy. In fact, I tell her to go to a place, she goes there and that's it, without asking any questions. I respect the test limitations. It's 90 here, so I try to respect as best I can. The position, it's a bit like a city car position. So for the ultra sporty side in the position, it's not ideal. The seats hold up very well. I have a footrest on the side and a good front train. You really have to push hard before putting it in default. It's quite impressive. Extremely well. It brakes hard when we put a little more into it. The acceleration, well, it's progressive. I leave the SP on so that precisely it doesn't just skid around randomly. But it drives the Chronicles very well, does its job super well. If you need to brake hard, it brakes very well. That's doing a super good job. You have to take it far to put it at fault, like using it. It's pleasant. Here, deactivate the SP, that's the species. This time, when we activate them, it is off, so as much for the motor skills as for the traction control. And no, it's even going like that. She manages to authorize me well. It's quite impressive. It's not bad, there's plenty to have fun with, so there. We're increasing consumption though, but I'm quite impressed, actually. It's so easy. We're going to quickly and easily go for a ride without putting ourselves in danger. It's super healthy, and honestly, it does exactly what you want. You tell it to turn, it turns. Quite impressive, really. I really like the acceleration. The sound adds a nice touch, I admit. And what's good is that, for example, when we're going to drive at a steady speed, we're not going to have a noise that's too present and annoying. So I have the fun side, and when I let go and I'm at a steady speed, it disappears, so it's not annoying. No, it's pretty good. I don't really know what to expect, but it's enjoyable. Honestly, I won't hide that it's very enjoyable. And to ride like this, coolly, it's very pleasant. Even on small mountain roads, I think you would be disappointed to live in the mountains. There's an incredible chassis, very good tires, a clearly enjoyable sporty side at the chassis level. It's very healthy. I like it a lot. really, if I want to push it a little bit, I really have to take it on the brakes or release the foot. The rear will gently take over, but it's not very train-like. It's really great. We're going to string together the little zigzags. We keep climbing. Brakes very well. We can do progressive braking. The steering wheel is a bit big. As I was saying, I find it maybe a bit too grouped. As I say, me who has big hands, maybe people with smaller physical characteristics. The hole may be a bit big, and precisely sporty driving, I like to have a bit of finesse. For example, Bohes steering wheels, that's ideal. And before, what fun it holds well, what does it hold well, what does it hold well? I love it. Honestly, it's a little bit humid here. Be careful with everything disconnected. Stay. Super healthy, a great hook, beautiful. Toy, bravo. Alpine, frankly, bravo Alpine. And there, on the other hand, for example, in the mountains, the maximum range takes on its full meaning. For example, I accelerate, release a bit, and play with the accelerator pedal to anticipate turns. It's my global positioning system. I anticipate, slow down, and accelerate. And I can play like this also for pleasure and even for a daily station, and play on the recovery of energy. I've used 24 kilowatt hours on the uphill journey. We'll see what the downhill trip yields. But by playing well, by anticipating well, it makes me do regenerative braking, just not my pads in time. I take advantage and I have more than the steering to do like this without going too fast. And it's true that it's pleasant to ride, even cool, especially in beautiful landscapes like the ones I have right there. It's very, very good here, the north of Palma de Mallorca, beautiful. Well, fun's over. I'm still in the middle of the mountain. I'm going to have to go up, go down. Fun's over. This time I'm going to drive normally, so average at 24.4 for now, just having done the highway before, in the vicinity. It's more like climbing than 4.5. I don't find that ridiculous. We're going to go down. We're going to try to make sure not to consume too much this time, to play a little bit with the recovery, etc. Since more than in the mountains with the electric cars, we can recover energy every time we go down. There is still some climbing to do, since we have to climb all the way up to the ridge there to go down again. But the roads are super cool and the chassis incredible. Anyway, I'll get back to you to give a little debrief on consumption once I've come down from the mountain. And maybe do a little bit at a more urban pace. As we do daily, let's check the consumption by looking at everything, including a lunch. So full control in our sport, foot on the brake, foot on the gas, you have to press the button. Here at Verteke, it launches the control from 0 to 100 for me. And we reach 100. Well, it works a little bit, it's nice. The sound is too bad and turns off quite early, but it is still quite funny, especially the counter. When I'm here and I press this little button, it makes me feel like Tesla. So the cruise fight mode, and I admit that it's funny. We can also do it because we're full throttle on the pedal. And me, why not? What do you think? Are you coming? Let's do a little launch control. We even have a mode here to test, starting them close, foot to the floor on the brake. That our control. Let's go. It started. How long will it take? The tires are hot, 6 seconds 69. The record is in 6 seconds 4. So we're going to have to train a bit more with my coaching thing there. It works. We'll say not bad, 69 seconds. It's not extraordinary. It's not a real sports car. A little GTI, we'll say. Finally GTI. It's more injection watt, but there you go. What do you think? That makes me laugh. It's funny info. I've been having a bit of fun on the roads for a while now, and I'm warming up the tires and brakes a little bit. It's 170 degrees, 185 at the back, which is hotter. Because in sport mode, it will think the rear caliper to pivot the car a little and play with it a little bit. But I'll show you that more on the circuit video. But I love hood to close, like that does what we want. And the heavy braking you have, it immediately raises the temperature of the brakes enormously. So look there, we at 190 accelerate, will redo to 100 to 0, heavy braking, we heat the brakes well even. 210, 215, and we can keep playing like this. I love it. It's totally night now. I've reached 50% battery. I've done a little over 100 kilometers where I haven't. I light up. Little night atmosphere, 22.1 kilowatt hour having come down from the mountain. So she, while still having fun, having pushed hard, without looking at the consumption on the highway at the time, really, while also driving, letting it pass, as if it's not that crazy, so we can enjoy consuming, let's say correctly, without it being too excessive. On small mountain holes, we recover energy because the mountain wheels made it possible, which is cool, as I often say. Descent. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reset it like this, and then we're going to do some more normal driving. And I'm going to try not to drive at 130 and drive at 90, 80. Do a little bit of city driving, that kind of road. It will give us an idea, but 58 kilometers to do like this, we'll see a little bit more. The actual consumption, well, here I am arrived at my destination where there are lots of other Alpines. My consumption, it increased slightly from approximately 15.5 to 16.1. After doing some checks on the videos, accelerations, and 0 to 100 times, I achieved 15.5, which is quite accurate. Approximately like its little sister, the R5. But knowing that there I drove a lot slower, it consumes a little bit more, I think. We must be at 1.52 kilowatt hours more, in my opinion, in real use. But we're not in the same place, we're not the same temperature. And finally, there are plenty of things that differ, but here's a little debrief on what I think of the car. With a little bit of sunshine, all that, when there will be a beautiful sunset, all that. Well, so this Alpine at 290, what do we think about it? Is it a real Alpine? There, we were not in the Alps, but on mountain roads that were quite incredible, the place of Parma. And phew, for that, it's a pleasure. We could see that the chassis was still quite incredible. The car holds the road exceptionally well. We have a circuit planned for tomorrow, and I will create a dedicated video for you about it. The goal was to experience it in real life, including on the road, as only doing circuits isn't always engaging. And I think most owners won't go on a circuit with this car. Otherwise, buy yourself a real one at 110. It's much more fun, in my opinion, more enjoyable, these rear wheel drives, etc. But in any case, for the road, for everyday life. It has a killer look, it has an incredible chassis. The car consumes slightly more than an R5, but the roads here weren't ideal for fully enjoying the car and accurately assessing its consumption. If you're interested, let me know, and I'll take this Alpine for a longer time. Ultimately, it will be around $290. The new little Mini Cooper, is it? Since it's about the same price? One, I had talked to you about it in the Mini Cooper video, had I tried it. But here, clearly, in fact, if I had to choose, I would rather take that one because it is just as powerful. It is at the same price. It has a nice look. It's French, it's a little plus, because I know that in France we like our French products. The name Alpine is also a little more refined than Mini. Most importantly, I find this car quite comfortable, even with its sporty suspension. It remains usable daily and isn't overly harsh. So in reality, I think they've found the right compromise between sportiness and performance. The Violet's interior sound is okay. I expected better, but it's pretty good. And above all, that look, because often it's the look that decides people when buying a car. So, would you fall for this little version of the Alpine A290? Or simply rather, the R5, the little sister, which is a little less sporty? But the question that also intrigues me is, as an owner of an Alpine A110, would you fall for this Alpine A290? Or even the A390, which will be released next year? 100% electric, more powerful, bigger battery, but family friendly. Well, on one hand, we can also put people in the back. It's a little tight, but that's the small downside I would point out. But when we buy this, it's more like we are just two people. It's the everyday car to go to work. And actually, even as a company car, it could pass. Why not? It's still just a slightly enhanced R5 after all. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. See you soon. For future tests, feel free to watch the circuit video. This is going to be fun.